Hello students, this is Indrani Sen and today we are going to study entity relationship model or ER diagram. Why ER diagram is required? It is used to represent a highly abstracted view of the relational database. We have learned earlier that we have different types of views of the database, and before creating the database we need to have a conceptual view about how the database will look like, or how the tables are related to each other. So for that we can create a paper model or create a diagram which is known as the ER model. The ER model will help the database developers to create the database. There are several notations to draw the ER diagram, among which we have two types of models which are popular. One is the Chen's model and one is the Crowfoot model. ER diagram or the ER model consists of various components, among which we have three main components. One is the entity, the second is the attribute, and the third is the relationships. What is an entity? Anything in this world, like anything which you see, can be classified as an entity. Like anything, the name that is any noun, basically any name that can be a person, a thing, an animal, place, etc., can be represented as an entity. The entity is represented by a name or noun. The rectangle symbol, we are drawing a rectangle symbol with the name of the entity written inside it to represent an entity in ER diagram. Like we can see this example in which we have considered various kind of systems, like we have library information system, student information system, or banking system. In this we have grouped the entity sets. We have written the sets of the entities which are considered in this system. So in library information system we have the members who are basically members of the library and who are entitled to issue a book from the library. Next we have books which are available in the library, and we can have publishers who are supplying books to the library. Next we can talk about student information system, in which we have a faculty who is also a part of the student information system, because faculty will teach the students. Then we have exams, the students sit for the exams. So in case we need to record what are the details of the exams, which exam they were sitting in, all these details will be stored in the exam entity. And the third system which we have considered is a banking system, in which we have account stores the account information of this account holders. Then we have the customers who have accounts in the banks. The personal details are stored, can be represented by the entity customer. And the branch, which contains the branch details. We also have the attributes. The attributes identify and describe an entity in the same way as characteristics identify an object in the real world. An attribute is represented by an oval symbol in Chen's model. So here, in case of a ER diagram, apart from the entities, we also have the attributes which are connected to the entities. A member, for example, can have attributes like member ID. How can we identify a member? The name of a member, the address, phone number, etc. So we have various kind of attributes, like we have, if we classify the attributes, we have atomic attributes, we can have composite attributes, we can have key attributes, single valued, multi-valued, and derived attributes. In a Chen's model, an entity along with the attribute are connected by lines, straight lines. And for example, the member entity can be represented by the member entity set, and it contains the attributes like telephone number, member name, member address, and member date of birth. In case of a Crowfoot model, the entity is represented by a rectangular box which is partitioned, showing the name of the entity on the top level, and then the attributes in the second part of the rectangle. On the left hand side also a partition is made to show which kind of attribute it is, whether it is a primary key or not. What is an atomic attribute? An attribute is an attribute which cannot be decomposed into further smaller parts. For example, we can consider DOB. Member DOB can be considered as an atomic attribute because we are not able to decompose it further. What is a composite attribute? An attribute which consists of multiple attributes. Sir, wait. A composite attribute is an attribute which can be decomposed into further smaller parts. For example, we can consider here name of a member, which can be furthermore decomposed into first name, middle name, and last name. Similarly, address. Address can be also divided into building, street, city, state, country, zip, etc. Why it needs to be decomposed? A large attribute needs to be decomposed into smaller parts because to facilitate searching. For example, I want to know ki, the member I want to list only the members who are staying in Mumbai. In that case, I would require the city attribute. From the address, if we keep it as a single string, it is difficult to extract that data. Next, we are talking about the key attributes. An attribute is a key attribute if it uniquely identifies an entity. That is, from this attribute, I will be able to understand ki this attribute is identifying this particular entity only. For example, if we talk about the member, library member, so here a member can have name, address, date of birth, telephone number, and as well as ID. Here the name can also be duplicated. With the same name, more than one member can exist in the system. In the same address, more than one person can be a member of the library. At the same date of birth, also people may share the same date of birth, but we are uniquely giving an ID called member ID, which will not be duplicated. So this is known as the key or the key attribute of the member entity. In the crowfoot model, it is shown in this way. That is, in the lower rectangle, you can see we are underlying this member ID, and here on the left hand side we write PK. PK means primary key. Next, we talk about the composite key attribute. Uh, in some kind of entities, only one key attribute is not enough. We need to have at least more than one attribute which will identify that entity. So when one attribute is not sufficient to identify an entity and more than one attributes are grouped together to form an unique combination, the attribute is called composite key attribute. So here we are showing the composite key attribute in Chen's model. Let us consider a student. Like for example, in a school, we have students. Now, if we identify the students as a roll by roll number. Now, in that particular school, for each and every class, the roll number starts with 1. So with the particular roll number, we'll not be able to identify that student belongs to which class. So we need to, so roll number here does not qualify as a key attribute. We need to keep division, class as well. And here roll number, division, class together form a composite key attribute. Similarly, here in crowfoot model, we can show the composite key attribute by designating more than one key as the primary key on the left hand side. Next, we talk about the single valued attribute. An attribute which can contain only one value for a particular instance of an entity is called single valued attribute. In this case, a student DOB can be a single valued attribute because under no condition a student will have more than one date of birth. We can talk about now multi-valued attribute. An attribute which can have like an attribute of an entity which can consist of more than one values are known as multi-valued attribute. An example can be telephone number. A person can have, a student or a member or an employee can have more than one telephone numbers. So here member telephone number is a multi-valued attribute and it is shown by a double line while connecting to the entity. Next, we talk about the derived attribute. An attribute whose value is dependent on some other attribute is called a derived attribute. A derived attribute is required to show on the entity relationship diagram, because derived attribute in the while making the database, we need not make any kind of field for the derived attribute, because derived attribute must essentially be calculated in the program. It should not be stored. For example, here we consider member age. Member age is a derived attribute and it's shown by a dotted line, dotted boundary. So member age, here it shows, it tells the developers that this member age need not be made a field in the database or in the table. Instead, we can directly calculate the member age on the basis of DOB, member DOB. So if we are already storing member DOB, we need not store member age. So that's why member age qualifies to be a derived attribute. With this, we know all about the different types of attributes which exist in the entity relationship diagram. Thank you for being a patient listener.